All right, I think we're live. Happy Monday. What's today? 15th? April 15th. March, April. Is that tax day? Is it tax day today? Let's see. All right, what do we have going on here? We have oil's in its opening range. We just popped out of the top here. I do have an update to my, or not oil, sorry, gold, to my gold strategy. We're in a trade right now. Although not really loving this reaction. Still meets the criteria, so we'll probably go over that strategy update a little bit. I mean, we're essentially taking a break of the open range, but we're basing it off of some higher time frame confluences and some other stuff. And ultimately what we're looking for in gold are kind of swing trades, right? We're looking for big moves. So I actually got into this trade late based on kind of my updated parameters, but we waited around. We took a second entry that worked out pretty good. So we're up a little bit. The ideal entry for this would have been 72.70 or 72.7 right here. But anyway, I got in basically at the break, right? So my entry is this line right here. So right now we're kind of chopping around, not really liking it too much. But we're going to hold it. Stops down here a little ways at just below the midline. See how this plays out. If I get a reversal signal on the 15-minute, I'll probably bail on it. But other than that, we're going to kind of let it play out because oil is just choppy, or not oil. I keep saying oil. Gold has just been choppy. That's one of the things I'm trying to work through is how do I ride that out? Because when I was looking over my trades last week, a lot of them were good trades. I just got stopped out early, right? They went where they were supposed to go. My entries were pretty good for the most part. I didn't give them enough room, right? And gold can be choppy. So we're going to let this, right now we're delivering out of a 15-minute fair value gap. Okay. And that's kind of what we're basing this off of. We had, can't really see it on the 1-minute chart very well, but let me do this. Boom. So that's our 15-minute fair value gap that we're delivering out of. The thing that makes me nervous is we took out this high over here. I think. Yeah, we did. And then we rejected way back down. So we'll see. It'll be kind of bummer to have the first trade on my updated strategy a loser, but that could happen. Just going to kind of wait this out. We got in, I'm going to put the little arrow on the screen because we may sit in this one for a while. We'll see. See what happens. See what happens. If we're just kind of chopping around, which I don't like. I don't like chop. Like whipping around is different than chopping around. So like wicks, this is whipping around. Right? We wick up, then we wick down. Like this one, wick up, wick down, that's chop. This sideways stuff, this is I don't like that. Don't like that. But we do have, for whatever it's worth, these lines we're about to cross. Probably doesn't mean much, but I guess it can make us feel kind of good. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. I mean, really, my stop loss should be like way down here. But having it at the midline is below this pivot low, right? So realistically, if we break below here and hold, we may come back down to the overnight open. You know, I don't know. I do like that we pushed above the overnight open. We tested it now, and we're pushing off of it again. We're coming from a pretty strong downtrend. We had a big sell-off Friday, and so but then we had kind of a gap up this morning or last night. So, you know, I don't know. It could just be a consolidation day and not really go anywhere. Could just come down and hit my stop loss, and then I guess we wouldn't have to worry about it anymore. Stop loss is 41 ticks away. Oh, it's reaching. Okay, this is going to be the, this level holds here. Gosh. You know, I'm going to give it a little more room because I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to move the stop down here because if we retest off this midline and go up, I do not want to get chopped out of this. I would honestly rather take a bigger loss. Might be our only trade of the day if we take that big of a loss, but I would rather take this bigger loss. Than get stopped outright at the midline as it retests the midline and moved up. Now, what else we got going on here? I'm going to move this guy down here. So this is kind of this low. If we close below the midline, though, I will get out. I will get out because especially if we close on the 5 minute. We got 5 more minutes left on our 15-minute candle. We got 1 minute left on the 5-minute can. 5 minutes on the 15-minute, 1 minute left on the 5-minute. Let's see what we do. See if it holds or if it fails. The moment of truth. All right, what do we got? We got 70.9. And we're stopped at. Why are we stopped out? What's going on? Wonder if I didn't have enough drawdown in that account. What's going on here? I'm confused. What just happened? That's bizarre. I think I didn't have enough drawdown in my leader account. I think that's what it was. Oh, that's annoying. That's annoying. All right, hold on. We got to adjust our trade copier. Whoop. Had to be what it was, right? Because you watch, this is going to hold this midline and pop back up, and I'm going to be pissed off because it did exactly what it was supposed to do. Oh, that was it. Okay, all right. That's fine. That's fine. 48, 48, 48. Look at that. Look at that. All right, let's reassess here. Probably not just going to jump back into this. See what it does. Should have been paying more attention. I probably shouldn't have had that one as my leader account, right? Actually, in my head, I had one of the newer accounts as the leader account because I didn't for that purpose, but guess I was wrong. All right, well, we will wait this out then. Let it play out a little bit. We'll wait and see. I want to draw a line where my original stop was because I want to know if it would have hit. So my original stop would have been like 68.8. Right here. Boom. Should have been, I mean, that's a big stop. More than, I mean, 68. That's a big stop. But we're going for 100 or more on the, you know, on the positive side here. So 48. All right, everybody else is straightened out here. $48. We're holding the midline. We are holding the midline. Oil is opening up, and right now the open range is formed. It's a good opening range. Oh, you know what? I didn't check to see if there's news. Is there news today? I have no idea. Calendar says 7:30 news. Oh, that already happened. Retail sales. Does that do anything? I guess this was our big number here. 10 a.m. business inventories and housing market index. I don't know. We'll see. It's in 45 minutes. All right. We fell the midline, so maybe it's good we got stopped out early. Although I do have to note that the actual ideal entry would have been 72.7, which would have put this stop loss. Oops, where's my thing? 72.7 here. And below, that's 51. So the real risk on this trade, if I'd have executed it 100% correctly, would have been 53. It's kind of interesting because it popped up here to 54. Even from where we were in profit a little bit for a minute, less than a minute. Do. All right, overnight open, you're going to hold, you're going to fail. So the updated, well, let's look at oil first. So the range is formed on oil 63. It's a pretty decent sized range. I don't think business inventories or housing market are going to affect oil at all. So not expecting any kind of a news impact over here. We have a first test of our gold line. So we'll see how that responds. No idea what's going on in NQ. We're just going to let it go for now while we pay attention to the commodities. Had to double check, make sure I'm not muted over here. All right, so back to gold. So we blew through the overnight open here. Came back, we retested like 14 times. Popped up and immediately pulled right back to it. So it's probably gonna be a minute before look at anything in gold, because we got to decide which direction we're going from here. And anytime we're playing around that overnight open, it can get dicey. So we'll see. If it continues to just go sideways like this, I'll have to wait until something sets up. Which a setup would be where it, pulls away and retests essentially. Right? Yeah. All right. Look at oil here. I'm going to give oil a chance. See if we get a rejection here. Or see if we get a bounce, right? So we created the range. It looks like we're down at the midline here, which also corresponds with the moving averages, which is something of a confluence. So that's enough. So I did miss the immediate, immediately we could have entered one tick above this candle because it pushed up. But instead, I placed an order behind price so that if it came back down, we get ticked in. So we're ticked in right at 85.07, right here, right at the top of that candle. We'll see where it goes. See if we can make up a little bit of what gold took from us. Right now, gold is approaching the stop loss that I originally had, so might have got lucky getting stopped out early there. What other news do we have this week? Tomorrow we have housing starts and permits at 7:30 and industrial production at 8:30, 7:30 Central. And then industrial production at 9:15. Oh, stopped out. Man, no love in the markets this morning. April, or on Wednesday the 17th, we have oil inventories. Looks like we have Fed speakers all this week too. So they can make things interesting. Thursday, we've got jobless claims in the morning at 7:30, home sales at 10, and nothing on Friday. Except for Austin Goolsby. Kind of a cool name. Goolsby. He speaks. Or she speaks. I'm not really sure. At 10:30. The Baker Hughes rig count. What is that? I don't know. Today, the Fed speakers don't start till this afternoon. Lori Logan at 2:30. And Mary Daly gets the night shift at 8 p.m. Tomorrow is Philip Jefferson at 9 a.m. John Williams in the afternoon. Thomas Barkin at 1 and Jerome Powell at 1:15. I don't know. They do an awful lot of speaking. All right, so in oil or in gold, if we close below this 15-minute fair value gap, if the 15-minute candle closes below that, meaning we invert that fair value gap, then we're going to switch our bias to short, and I'll be looking for it to pull down into, well, it could close the gap. So we've got this here. Let's see. Boom, boom, ba-doom, ba-doom. Another 15-minute fair value gap down here. That would be my guess as far as where price is going to be pulling to. You can see we tapped it here. Here's our gap up. Pretty much top of this level up to here, up to the overnight open. So my guess is price would be pulling back down there if this fails. I mean, the last time we were down here, we kind of ripped up. So we'll see. We've got 5 more minutes till the 15-minute candle closes there. Kind of watch and wait. We do have kind of this, this wrap of the midline, which is kind of nice, but it goes right into the overnight open, so can expect bumpy waters as you move through that. Oil's not doing anything. It's just kind of trickling down. Wait till we get either a break one side or the other, or we get some kind of an impulsive move to kind of decide which direction it wants to go. And we got 5 minutes till NQ opens. So a little bit of waiting for now. That would have been my stop out, so we did get saved a little bit by by that account by 18 ticks. So it's kind of interesting on oil. I would have expected that to hold. Not sure why it didn't, but They don't work all the time. I think that was a pretty good entry, though, honestly. Although it hit my stop to the tick and pulled back up. Not much, right? We'd still be in drawdown, but interesting how that works. Let's see how we react here if we, so we're below the midline. Do we hold it and drop? We'll see. Two and a half minutes till equity's open. If gold pushes up above this midline, we're going to get a reversal signal on the 15-minute chart. So that's kind of, that'll be interesting, but it's got to close basically, well, basically here or higher. I don't think I would expect that the probability is we come down. We're kind of in a 50-50 position right now based on what I see. I think it could go either way, so we'll have to wait for it to tell us, wait for it to tip its hand. One and a half minutes here. Okay, gold wrapped the red line on the way down. See if it falls from there. I think it's important to note that based on my updated strategy in gold, which I think I'm going to do a video on it. We're gonna play with it here for maybe a week or two, and then I might do a video on this. But based on that strategy, we'd actually still be in this trade. We would not have been stopped out yet, so I do want to see how that plays out. In fact, I'm going to put those lines on here just for my own reference. 72.7, right? That's what I said the entry would have been. That's an entry off the 5-minute chart, so we would have been right here. Let's give that a different color. Nope, there's the open. Just make it obnoxious. Yeah. Can I make it bigger or no? Oh, there it is. That's what I thought I was doing. 2. That would have been the entry. Then the stop would have been below this low here. So still a wide margin, 52. Let's make this red or deep pink. There we go. All right, I don't know. This is a risky area right here. In gold, it doesn't know what it wants to do. NQ's coming down though. Boom, that one candle violated all this stuff. Rip down into this baby gap here. Oil's holding under the midline. All right, where are we going, NQ? Are we going to come all the way down? This is the London high area right here where we have this balanced price range. This is really nice high right up here. So we fell to create a newer high before we just dropped here. So gonna mark that. Well, violated that fair value gap, so we're probably going to come down to this low now. And there it is. Now, what do we do from here? Continue to fall? Gold is still undecided. Oil is still undecided. NQ seems to be the one of the three that has picked a direction. What's going on in ES? That's interesting. So NQ took out this low. ES is not. In fact, ES setting up a beautiful red line test right here. Pretty much a textbook entry for that strategy on ES. Well, NQ appears to be free falling. Okay, we can get rid of that. There's no clean singular fair value gap here on this reversal. I haven't really looked at the higher time frames in Q, to be honest with you. We've been kind of sideways. Been in this sideways channel for a while. So there's no real direction at this point. At least not that I can tell. Oh, it would have been stopped out. Okay, so that would have been a failure. Would have been a failure either way. So now we have a breakout in gold of the bottom of the range. We have a failure of the overnight open. So this to me, like I said before, I would anticipate price to pull kind of down into this level. I'm going to mark out this low here, as that would be sort of where I would have my eye. See what we do here. From here, I would need to see some kind of a pullback. I need an inside bar on the 15-minute or the 5-minute. I mean, maybe we don't get it. It gets really tricky when that overnight open is, it's right. It's like, 25% at 25% of the open range. So it creates some noise in here where there might ordinarily be a nice entry. That just, yeah. I mean, this is a wrap of the midline, right? So that would ordinarily be something I would look at as a good entry point, especially after this rejection from above. But going into the overnight open is always less certain, especially, I mean, since we've been to the overnight open a couple of times, it's going to have less weight, so we didn't see a bounce, which isn't a surprise because, we've already been here and pushed off of it and didn't really go over it too far. But it does, price hangs up here before it, picks a direction, so we'll see. Okay, and Q's pulling back. What did ES do? Oh, yeah. So perfect rejection here of the red line on ES. You'd be up 5 points. That'd be the target. And it looks like it's not going to give me an entry over here before it comes down. We've already fallen. Where's the open range? There's the open range. Put some extensions on here for reference. Okay, so 100% is all the way down here. We haven't quite got there yet. Getting hung up below this low, which isn't a surprise. Okay, well, our lines are crossing in oil. We did come back up. We tested the underside of the red line before we dropped back through the bottom barely by a couple of ticks. All right, there's that low in gold. Oh, we definitely closed that gap. Okay, so it just happens we hit our 100% mark by a tick or two, and then we're pausing. It's been a lot of some pretty strong momentum down to this point, so this may just be a pause before we come lower, which is really good because that might give us an entry if we pull back a little bit here. What do we think about oil? Let's see. Yeah, gold's back up to the little 1 minute gold line after a strong push down, so that is a nice little pullback right there. Is it enough though? All right, well, oil is rolling back up. Gold is rolling back up. Not NQ though. NQ came back up for a second and then said, no, we're going to drop again. Forget this, we're out of here. Back inside the London range on NQ. Pop back up, down below. Now we're retesting that top line. Does it want to take out the bottom? Don't know. I've noticed in gold recently, at least in the last couple weeks, a lot of times between 9 and 10 is when there's a lot of sort of chopping going on before that. And then between about 9 and 10 is when you kind of get an entry that kind of goes, right? So here we're testing off the bottom of the open range. I'm just cautious right here because we've got, we're in the middle of these 15-minute fair value gaps. So, feels like the momentum, it feels like we were price out up here and then dropped pretty strongly. So this could just be a pullback, but could just chop sideways for all too. Don't know. What's this candle at here? Hmm. Okay, I'm going to take that. It's a little bit of an early entry, but let's see. Stop is up here basically at that opening range. See where we fall to. If we continue down, I'd be looking for this level here because this is this low over here. We have some other ones kind of in between. I could just stop at any one of those and turn around, but kind of what I would be looking at there. The better entry would have been to wait for this to be inverted, closed below, but kind of took the gamble because otherwise, our stop would still have to have been up here, 44. That would have been a little far, so that's kind of why I got in there. So let's see where it goes. Okay, let's mark out some structure here. So this is good. Our entry is above this, what was, created as a fair value gap after we got in. So that's a good sign. The bad sign is we've got this line we rejected off of before. We seem to have tapped it. We're creating a higher low, so that's not necessarily good. But it's early yet. I don't ever like being in a position really where we're hoping for a fair value gap to fail in order for our trade to be successful, which is kind of where we're at. Right, we need this 15-minute fair value gap to fail. So for that reason, it may be lower probability, but I feel like we have kind of momentum on our side overall. In fact, if we come up here and retested our gold line, this might be an opportunity for a second entry. Meanwhile, oil, false breakout, pullback, and now it's failing again. Man, what is going on here? It's like the market doesn't want to work for us today. Just says, no, thank you. Go home and try again later. All right, we're out. Yeah, this inverted this fair value gap on the way back up, so I'm gonna wait. Got out of that for break even. See how it plays out here. But that was enough of a violation that I don't think it's worth waiting to see how that plays out. On the 5-minute chart, we're just like barcoding across, so there's no clear direction. We're holding this 15-minute fair value gap for now. Didn't push through, so we get out and we wait for another opportunity. Now, did we say we have 10 o'clock news, right? So that's coming up here like right now. So let's see what that does. Well, in 30 seconds, I guess. See if this news even matters. Doesn't look like it. All right, that's good. Okay, oil's just chopping around and Q's just chopping around. All right, well, nothing is happening right now, so I'm going to take a 2-minute break. I'll be back in a minute. Look at that. Gold is back down. So yeah, we had a nice retest of this open range. And we're chopping down from there, but we are coming down. Five minute is still just sideways. So not convinced until we break this 15-minute fair value gap, but could happen. And Q's just bouncing around. Oil's slowly coming down. All right, well, there goes that fair value gap. So see how we held this fair value gap? It did fell. At least it appears like it's going to. Well, I don't know. We still have 10 minutes left on the 15-minute chart, so still a lot of time left, but that's a pretty strong push down there. Oh, hold on. All right, we did get that closed up a 5-minute candle, and first 5-minute candle to close down below the range that it had been in for the last 20 minutes. So that is good. Let's see. There it goes, man. So did I jump out of this trade too early? Kind of looks like it. That's too bad. Be up 100 ticks by now. That would have made back our loss earlier. Plus a lot. Oh, look, and it's if that comes down and touch. Oh, come on. Oh my gosh, look at that. Gold. It's the most aggravating thing when you can read the price, you can tell the levels, but somehow your entries have a hard time matching up with that. That's the piece of the puzzle we need to work on. But and it's going to draw down to where are we going to draw down to? Do we have something lower than that? Let me look. Well, we got all kinds of lows lower than that. Can't believe that. Oh my gosh. All right, let's put this one here. Since we appear to be in free fall mode today. Right there. And right there. I like to look at fair value gaps on gold a little more than just straight levels, but let's see. This is gonna this is a oh geez, look at that next one. Actually, it's a little lower right there. Still hit. Oh, heaven help us. Let's see. Yeah, we're just violating everything. We're in free fall. These are huge candles too. That 1 minute candle is 81 ticks. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And Q is also failing everything, it looks like. Oil's still trickling down. Now's when I got to be careful not to... no FOMO here. Can't just jump into something now. Even though, I don't know, it keeps selling off, so... Oops. Didn't mean to move that. Where'd that belong? Back to where you belong line, right there. Something like that. Oh, boy. And this is why I want to get into the habit of not trading with targets in gold, because it does this all the time. And sometimes it means you're going to give up some open profits, but that's the only way you're going to get a 200 tick move. It's by just letting it go. 200 ticks, literally. Let's see. I got out on the 859 candle. It tapped this level on the 09. So 10 minutes. 10 minutes later. Well, it turned around 2 minutes later. This is my new goal in life, is to beat gold. Gold is my nemesis right now. I mean, oil kind of does the same thing, but man. I mean, we got the same movement over here in NQ. The difference is NQ whips around a lot more than gold does. At least it feels like it does. Maybe the reality is it's not quite as dramatic as it seems, but This is the 850 macro too. So price in NQ kind of spools up here, whoop, and then drops. Right, so that's not uncommon to see. Nice failure here. Actually, in retrospect, I wasn't even watching NQ over here, but we did have an inversion. So, not a real big one, but given the context that we're coming off the red line, that we're wedging up like this, this would have been a really good trade. So we have this inversion down that was created from this impulsive move up that took out this high, even though it only took it out by a little bit. We took out this high, inverted it. I mean, closed way down here. So that would have been, well, 17-point stop loss. It's not too bad. And then, of course, it just, we'd be targeting this low probably. So, 36 points. Obviously, it went further than that. Now we're inverting this guy on the way up. The problem is, I don't know, we got a lot of stuff up here, so it's not clean at all. Do I have the overnight open on the NQ chart? Where's it at? Yeah, it should be there. Should be down here. Why am I not seeing that? Where's my line, Ninja Trader? Show open, right there. What am I? Oh, visible. There we go. Way down there. Well, that was the move that I was waiting for today. So we didn't get it. We got faked out on the top side. Looking back at this trade, I mean, it followed my rules. Well, sort of. Did it? Let's see. I need to actually evaluate this so I can determine if I was making stuff up or not. Let's see. It really didn't follow my rules. I'm gonna give that this trade a failing grade because this entry was based off of a 5-minute inside bar, which is fine. The problem is my new rules, which I'm still sort of refining, but generally speaking, they would require that I am trading that the 15-minute agrees. And while the 15-minute didn't really contradict that entry, it also didn't really support it. The 15-minute was just going sideways. We're inside of this fair value gap. So it wasn't confirmed by the 15 minute. So for that reason, I would call it a fail. The challenge is that I would not have, there wasn't any clear entry for this short either, which is kind of annoying to me. We do have a nice retest, like I mentioned, of the bottom of the open range. But we have a lot of indecision everywhere else, right? So we have inside bars on the 5 minute and the 15, but they're up close inside bars, and we have a 15-minute fair value gap below us, which, as I mentioned, I don't like trading into those, but clearly when they fell, that can happen. So kind of a tough day for gold, really. So I can't really be too mad. This trade, not a great trade because it wasn't confirmed by the 15 minute. This trade was probably the better trade, although it also was not confirmed by the 15 minute or the 5 minute. Looked good on the 1 minute, and it would have worked out. So, you know, this was like a C trade because A trade would have had the 3 time frames agreeing. But it wasn't impulsive. It was based off of market structure. So, you know, I'm not going to beat myself up at all for that. I guess if anything, the critique of this would have been just hold till your stop loss because you never know what it's going to do. And that, especially in gold, tends to come out and take out stops a lot, right? Oh, look at this. Hold on. It's my leader account over here. 48. Yeah, we're too slow on that inversion. Too slow. You snooze, you lose. Do want to see if it pulls back up in here, though. Let's see. What about the oil trade that did not work? This one also. This was a fine trade. I have no issues with this trade at all. It just failed. So met all the criteria. Created the open range. We came back down to the midpoint of the range. We were rejecting off of, this was a crossover rejection of the 5 minute line, or the red line, the gold line, you know. So I don't really have any problems with that. I mean, I could look at that and say, well, we had a pivot here. And we broke that pivot here. So that might have been the sort of caution sign there, but still, I don't think that was a bad trade. And the risk was, 14 ticks. So reasonably small risk, especially for the range, right? If we had gone at least up to the top of the range, that would have been, 30 ticks. So I'm fine with that. It just didn't work. All right, well, now NQ is just inverting everything, so yeah, we're not going to play with that. Not going to play with that. All right, well, it might be time for a break. Since everything's just had a nice long run here, gonna give it a minute to sort of settle out and decide what it wants to give us for later on. We'll keep an eye on it though. Might get a chance to recover a little bit. Just a little annoyed that I wasn't able to catch this drop. A lot annoyed that I was in that trade and got out early. Oh my gosh. All right. I may actually start. I need to start journaling the time of my trades, because especially this last week or two, it's always been lose in the morning, make it up in the afternoon. So I may be better off just saying I don't trade until after some time. I just don't know when that time is. I mean, I didn't trade here until 8 o'clock. So it wasn't like I was trading, during the open or anything like that. So anyway, just talking through what I see, just in case, see what I can learn from it. So it's all we can do. That is all we can do. It is nice to see. I like to see this though, because it reconfirms that I'm reading the market accurately, right? I mean, not that these levels are like super secret. They're pretty obvious. But price got hung up where I expected it to get hung up. Once it fell there, it dropped to where I expected it to drop through. So I think that's, should feel pretty good about that. Speaking of market structure, really like this. Anyway, that's all I got for today. So we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, big news at 8:30 and 9:15. So see what opportunities that presents for us. We'll do it again. So trade safe, everybody. We'll talk to you tomorrow.